Hallo, ich habe heute zur Sendung Kopfhörer auf. Aber nicht Kopfhörer, weil ich irgendwas mit hören will, weil man sieht, das Kabel ist nicht eingesteckt, sondern heute geht es um den Harmony-Kopfhörer. Harmony-Kopfhörer, was ist das? Dazu haben wir uns zwei Studiogäste eingeladen, den Herrn Joachim Wagner und den Singh, der schon oft bei uns war. Und ja, Herr Wagner oder Joachim, du bist zuständig zur Entwicklergruppe von Harmony. Und Kama ist ja allgemein Experte in Harmony-Technologie und für uns, für andere Sachen auch noch im Studio immer mal zugange. Ja, den Harmony-Kopfhörer, ich hatte ihn 10 Jahre liegen gehabt, bis ich jetzt durch eine Sache, wo mir Karma gesagt hat, probier den mal aus, nimm den mal dafür, weil ich hatte Kopfschmerzen gehabt und ein Unwohlsein. Und da sagt er, zieh den Kopfhörer mal auf. So, und dann habe ich den Kopfhörer gebaut dementsprechend. Das ist nämlich das, worum es geht. Es geht darum, um die Chips hier einfach nur zu halten, die Harmony-Chips an entsprechenden Punkten. Und das ist das, was in dem Harmony-Kopfhörer steht. Und dann habe ich ihn aufgesetzt und hatte interessante Erlebnisse. Das erste war sofort, ich habe mich in meinen eigenen Energien gefühlt. Nichts hat mich mehr gestört. Die Kopfschmerzen sind innerhalb ein paar Minuten verschwunden, hat keine 5 Minuten gedauert. Und dann hatte ich mich, wie gesagt, in so einer eigenen Blase gefühlt. So, nichts hat mich von außen gestört. Kann das sein, dass das so war?
Yes, of course. You see, what actually happened there is that the entire energy in and around you gets optimized. It gets brought back into the natural harmony. And in that state, you don't take up as many perturbing influences as you did previously. And so you feel clearer, more balanced, and cleaner. And it's exactly the effect that one would expect.
Ja, Joachim, und wie funktioniert an sich der Chip, der hier drauf ist? Was ist diese Wirkweise? Es ist ja kein radionischer Chip, sondern es hat eine Wirkweise.
Yes, it has. If I may take it. This chip contains a lot of vibrating elements containing of condensers, capacitors and coils, micro elements. And these resonating elements can go in resonance with the energy, which is moving there or there in all directions. And so as it comes in contact with a certain point of energy flow, for example at the body, then it will optimize this area specifically. And the funny thing is, all the, let me say, the basics, the groundworking will stay the same, and all the noise and the dissipation and energy losses and reflecting negative elements will be slowing down, will be erased, and will be silent. So, and it's just almost a natural way of transforming energy, but repeating all which is necessary, which is basically there, will be working again or will be already working, and all the noise and the negative elements will be erased. So what will be left is basic natural energy, and that will help in certain areas of the body which become closer, will be giving a surprising effect, and that's what you experience.
Wir haben ja von Tönen jetzt gesprochen, das sind Kopfhörer, wo eigentlich ja Musik drüber läuft. Habe ich auch einen Effekt, wenn ich jetzt Musik damit hören würde?
Oh yes, you can listen to music or noise or sounds different ways, but the funny thing is you will be needing less volume, and you will be able to, let me say, experience a clearer, truer and a more realistic sound.
Nur bei den Kopfhörern, oder würde das jetzt Sinn machen, bei einer großen Anlage, bei einer Musikanlage, den jetzt auf die Lautsprecher zu legen, auf die Boxen, oder wo lege ich den hin?
With a musical equipment, any kind, big or small, you can experience the same thing. With the headphones, it's more easy because the closer to the ears or to the magnetic elements, the mini loudspeakers there, it will know what is to transform or to optimize immediately. But with a bigger musical equipment, you will have maybe a little bit more experimenting. Where is the best place or the best position to transform the musical equipment? It can be the current which goes inside at your sockets, for example. It can be even the pre-amplifier. You have many possibilities. So it will be taking a little bit more time, but the effect will be very nice and true and naturally, just as you experience as the headphones.
Okay. Und hier habe ich die ja nur, um die Positionen zu halten. Das heißt, an den Ohren und auf der Fontanelle. Welchen Effekt habe ich damit, wenn ich das so platziere?
Well, it's to do with the basic structure of how the brain gets programmed. And this happens in the first 6 to 7 years of life. And you get a lot of programming from the mother, a lot of programming from the father. And then you have the natural programming from your higher self or from God or the angels, whatever you want to call it. And if you can bring all three of them into harmony instead of into conflict with each other, as they are in the raw state, then you have an enormous effect. You see, the human activity is determined more than 90% through habit. Fine in itself, because that frees the attention to do something else. And things like languages is all learned habits, millions and millions and millions of learned habits. A lot of them very useful, some of them quite the opposite. You know, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not big enough, whatever. Lots and lots of this sort of rubbish. And the beautiful thing is that the things which are useful are in resonance with your system, with the system human being. And because of the way in which the harmony technology works, they will naturally be cleared and strengthened. The things which are dissonant, I'm never allowed to have any money, etc., etc., they can be separated out because they are in conflict with the system. And so you start bringing the system back into maximum order, they just get shunted out. They're no longer included in the system. And the way in which the habits are stored in the brain is with synaptic chains. And when the destructive habit has reached a point where it gets no more energy, the chain breaks. And then that habit does not exist anymore. It's not pushed off somewhere, it's not covered up, it just does not exist, completely removed from the hard drive, so to say, room for a new program, something useful. And that's what the long-term effect of using the Harmony headphone set is all these self-destructive beliefs, expectations just get deleted, and you stop opposing yourself and you start going much more rapidly where you want to go. Or in some cases, first recognizing where you want to go. And then you go there.
Setzt man die sich jetzt nur auf oder gibt es dazu ein Programm, was man machen kann, eine Übung oder solche Geschichten?
After the Harmony headphone sets were initially discovered or invented, Joachim has the habit of inventing things, and then I have to work out what they used to be used for. Mm-hmm. And the very first headphone set actually existed in 2004, and he gave it to me as a Christmas present, and it took me 7 months to work out what it was for. Mm-hmm. And now we know. And gradually over the time, we've developed a home training program which teaches you how to focus the effect of the Harmony headphone set in particular areas of your life. And once you've mastered this home training program, you then work yourself where you decide, okay, this is where I need to do some improvements. And you just keep going at it. And I use my first headset every day for at least 2 years. And then when I need it, And it's a sort of useful thing that when big problems come up and you need a lot of clarity to work through them, it goes much, much quicker with the headset out. And I haven't glued my top one in. I just push it under the bow of the headset, and pressure holds it there. And that means that the 3 harmony evolutions, when they're not in the headphone set, normally you'd work with them for 30 to 60 minutes every day. They're available to be used somewhere else. And so it's not a case of, I need a harmony headphone set to do this, and then I need some more evolutions or more pendants to do something else. No, you can use the same ones. Not a problem. And, a few years ago now, we had an email from a couple in America, and they were looking at the headphone set, and they said, yeah, but what we want each of us a harmony pendant to wear during the day. That's a harmony pendant. And we want to work with a headphone set in the evening, one after the other. Can we not have it as 2 harmony pendants and an evolution in the bow? Well, yes, of course you can. And it's just that you need a headset with a smaller, I'm not quite sure what you call those in English, to be honest. And so that it holds the pendant instead of the harmony evolution. And yeah, so that there's the standard harmony headphone set, and there's the harmony headphone partner set, and that's with the 2 pendants and the 1 evolution which goes on the fontanelle.
Muss ich beachten, diese Richtung, wie ich den anbringe, oder ist es egal, ob so oder so? Was mache ich damit?
There is a preferred direction of the energy flow, and when you look at the text, ideally the energy flows behind the text from the bottom to the top, or from right to left, or from left to right. It comes down on what you're doing, but the body's energy flow is up the back and down the front. So optimally, the harmony evolution on the front of the body is the text is upside down because the flow is that way. So on the fontanelle, it's readable from behind. On the sides, it goes down. So if you're putting it on the ears, it's upside down.
Mhm.
But here we're talking about a fine optimization. It's not essential. It just works somewhat better, maybe 10% better, but it won't stop working if they're upside down, so to speak. In fact, I know somebody who actually, she found it too strong when she started, so she put them in back to front. And there she only had 50% of the effect. But, and after a while, she turned the right way around again.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Ich nutze noch einen Auric, Harmony Auric. Was hat der noch für Möglichkeiten dazu nochmal?
Well, that's a little booster device which we developed 2 years ago. And what that does is it boosts the effect of the other Harmony product and takes them from a 4-dimensional effect into a 5, 6, and sometimes even a 7-dimensional effect. And so you're getting a deeper effect, which is difficult to describe because this is so on the fringe of modern physics that there's a problem with developing new terms to talk about it. And even if I knew them, they would probably mean nothing at all to you.
Yeah, you can say it's more in real balance with the natural energies. Mm-hmm. Because natural energies doesn't have only 3 dimensions or 4. They are much more. Nature uses those dimensions since millions of years. We are slow with that. But Burkhard Heim was a professor in Germany who was already able to use 12 dimensions in a full mathematical, perfect physical theory. And so there you can see that there are at least 12 dimensions which have to which must exist. Otherwise, it makes no sense to use them mathematically. And when it fits in a theory and you use them mathematically, then there must be also a real, let me say, counterpart of it. And that's the parts of the nature we use already. So there's not a miracle when they are 5, 6, 7 dimensions used for energy optimization. It already shows that we are not at the limit on the 12th, so I'm looking around 5, 6, 7. So there's already a little bit space for further optimization in the next years.
And there's a very interesting research institute in San Diego where they're actually trying to build an 8-dimensional crystal. And there's 2 fascinating and highly entertaining videos on YouTube. And we'll add a link in the description here below, so you can have a look at them yourselves.
Oh, great.
Den Harmony Evolution, sage ich jetzt mal, könnte man sich jetzt auch vorstellen von der Wirkung, dass man den einfach größer bauen würde. Würde das was bringen? Gibt es das schon?
Yes, it could be in a larger scale. Not the evolution directly in a larger scale, but a combi product with many single smaller processors or chips put together on a bigger layer. The one is the one for the car, the Harmony Supercharger. It's a blue one with the size of a game card. And next bigger size was or is already the home and office harmonizer, which is maybe 8-corner product this size. So it can fit easily above the entrance door inside the house or the living rooms, the flats, for example, because that seemed to be the best position where all the different rooms at the same time can be rebalanced and harmonized. So there are already bigger products for special usage.
Und welche Wirkung hat das jetzt zum Beispiel beim Haus, wenn ich den jetzt anbringe?
That's a very fascinating thing because when you put it in a room or in a house, the home and office harmonizer, it easily transforms all the energy fields, all the energy components, already the air inside the house. The air feels fresher, and it gives much more space for more people. For example, when we make a speech or a lecture, when a rather small room, 20, 30 people, after maybe half an hour, they begin to sweat and, can we open the window? Unfortunately here are no open windows, so okay, difficult. We put the home and office harmonizer there. When they really try to open the window, they say, can we have 2 minutes? You say, yeah, okay, you can have 2 minutes, but okay, do it fast, whatever you like to do. And then they sit down, they think, the air is much fresher, the sweating begins to reduce, and they will sit, for example, after they wanted to open the window and it's not opened, even the door stays closed, 1 hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. Even in the night time, they all are very fit, very vital, very exactly listening, asking wonderful questions. So the whole energy with people inside improves dramatically to the higher quality. And the funny thing is that even the air gets fresher, can be breathed much better, and be experienced from almost all the people there, although no another additional oxygen comes inside. Although the oxygen is slowly reducing, and the air quality is better and better from hour to hour. Fantastic.
What actually happens there, the reason why some rooms you feel quite quickly are, I'm suffocating, is not because there's a shortage of oxygen, but because when you breathe out, the air that you breathe out is programmed with your energy signal, and for everybody else, they can't resonate with it. So that bit of air isn't usable for them. Mm-hmm. And everybody's doing the same thing. So the air feels used up very, very quickly. But if you put a home and office harmonizer, or even the big one, the Omega, in the room, then this external programming from the air that you breathe out gets deleted, and the air is usable for everybody, and that's why you have this observed effect of the air being fresher, because it's been cleaned of the energy of all the other people in the room.
Eine weitere Anwendung, die angesprochen war ja das Auto.
Oh ja.
Was bemerkt man da, wie bringt man da erstmal an? Das ist erstmal die erste Frage.
Okay, to use it in the car, it will be very interesting between a person, driver or driving people, and steering wheel. Okay, there's only the place at the steering wheel itself, but there behind is the airbag, so it's not advised to attach it there with some sticking elements. We advise to use it behind the steering wheel, near the dashboard, or in the middle of the car near the gear shifters, where you have enough space, and it will be approximately in the direction of an arm length from the driver.
Or if you're watching this in England or Australia, the middle console here.
Okay. Another side, yeah, true. Okay, yes. So the thing is, it is important to touch, let me say, the energy heavy point in the car. There where a lot of destructive fields or negative fields collide, and there are where the biggest noise is. And it will be inside the car, not in the engine compartment, inside the car, because the energy has to be first optimized for the people, and already is optimized for the inside of the car, the passenger compartment, and this is the biggest place. So all the smaller places, like engine compartment or in the rear, will be following. It's just like the home and office harmonizer in the house. One room which connects all the other rooms is the first to optimize, and then all the others came and will be rebalanced. And in the car is already the same, only that we have more moving parts there. The shock absorbers, the tires, the wheels, everything, the 1,000 parts of an engine, all moving in different directions and never doing what they should do. So they will be harmonized and start beginning to work as a team. And that's very interesting because the engine noise can be reduced, the engine wear can be reduced, so the lifetime of the mechanical parts can increase by, let me say, at least 100%. Sometimes it's more, but we say only up to 100%. And the funny thing is, even the road holding, the surface of the tire and the road are connecting better. And that makes a very interesting behavior. So when you follow with your car, which may not a race car, you can follow a car which is going very fast around the corners, and you will see if you make no sudden movements with your steering wheel, just go in the corner. You can increase the speed. You can increase the speed further, and it will not, let me say, run out of the corner, but it will only following the corner. Very fine without almost any effort. Very interesting.
I noticed this even on the very, very first car that had a supercharger on it, my old Rover 827. And there I could put it in the middle of the steering wheel because of no airbag. But the sensation was like going round a bend on rails. It's like, wasn't like a road at all, where it wobbles a bit. It's just sort of, the rails go round the bend. That's where I'm going. And that's why you can go so much faster around the bend. And this is what the NASCAR racers discovered. The car doesn't go that much faster, but it goes around the bends a hell of a lot faster than all the others, and that's where it was winning.
Yes, and that comes from a specific reason. Before, without the harmonization, you have only one wheel which has the strongest road holding out of the four. All the other three will be a little bit weaker. And the fourth, the last one, will be the weakest. That's, for example, when the car is like this, one wheel can be even in the air, not touching the road. So most cars, you will not notice that when one wheel is in the air. So look how bad they are made. And when you have the harmonization, every wheel uses its full service to, let me say, ground with the street. Before, it will be looking like that, where you have a lot of air in between and only connecting a little bit. Later, with the harmonization, it will be like that. And you have a very good connection that even all the parts of the microservice of the tire can be deeply connected with the road. And that gives you an effective percentage from the touch, the connection, maybe from 20% up to 80%. And that is dramatic, what you can experience with the tires, the wear, and the road holding. So there seems to be not a real limit. Even on wet roads, you can go around the corners like crazy, and you will not move the car, you will not get in danger. But let me say, do it slowly, step by step, or increase 5 kilometers, test it, increase it further 5 kilometers, and then you will go where you have the most fun and the most security. But it's absolutely fantastic how easy the car can be moved in almost every direction you want.
Then, on top of that, because of this effect, tire wear is very, very much reduced. So that you will find tires lasting up to 3 times as much as they used to. Mm-hmm. In fact, there's one which I can link to a photograph here. No, we'll put it on the screen behind us. Mm-hmm. This tire, where experts say it's done maybe 20,000 miles, has actually done 112,000 miles. Mm-hmm. And that's a very big difference. And it still looks really, really good.
Yes. Ganz kurz noch, merkt man den Effekt gleich, wenn man ins Auto einsteigt oder wenn man das nutzt, oder dauert das ein bisschen, bis der Effekt sich aufbaut?
The longest that I've ever heard of was in Canada, I think it's a 25-year-old or 30-year-old tractor. It took 5 weeks before the man said, "Hey, now I notice something. That tractor is at least 10 years younger." The quickest I ever experienced was on the Highway 1 in California. And Highway 1 goes like that for several hundred miles. And but it's very beautiful. And we got a hired car, a Ford Escapade or something or other. And on that road, of course, you have to brake a lot. And it was fishtailing every time. And I can't do any more with this. I get a Harmony supercharger out of the luggage, put it on. 300 yards, that car was driving in a straight line and braking in a straight line. And the suspension worked at last. And it was so much better that when we got to Seattle, and we were going on to Montana, I said, "I'd like to keep this car." And they said, "You can't." I can't what they call it in America now, but it's the American version of the MOT runs out in 3 days, and that car then gets sold for scrap or whatever. And I'm like, God, they give me a junk car to drive on Highway 1.
Also wenn man das jetzt alles so gehört hat, kann man zusammenfassend sagen, es gibt unterschiedliche Wirkungen, die damit erzielt werden, auch was immer auf die Sache bestimmt, sage ich jetzt mal, aber unterschiedlich, was die Leute wahrnehmen. Und das andere ist, es ist ein Produkt, wo man einfach mit ausprobieren kann, mit spielen kann, nutzen kann und gucken kann, was geht alles mit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's how we've learned most of what we know.
Yes, absolutely.
Ja, dann bedanke ich mich dafür, dass ihr ins Studio gekommen seid.
You're welcome.
Ja, und natürlich werde ich die Kopfhörer jetzt weiter ausprobieren und noch weiter Erfahrung sammeln, weil es ist einfach faszinierend, was bis jetzt schon damit passiert ist. Dankeschön.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks.